I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're taking a look at the second Great Depression that takes place in the mid-21st century. What's he talking about, you ask? Well, it's a fictional time, it's a fictional event, or is it? We shall see. It is the time and the setting of a book called Magnetism, The Revelation by author HW Sahek. His friends call him Wayne, and I hope he counts me among them, so I'll call him Wayne today. Wayne, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Logan, for having me.
My pleasure. Loved your book. It really seems quite real. It feels like 1930s, but this is more than 100 years in the future from 1930. Tell me a little bit about the world you created for this book.
The world that they're living in at that time, which is the mid-21st century, in other words, about a quarter century from now, there's a second Great Depression going on. People are struggling to get by. The Sevrin family is struggling to hold on to their farm when they have a grain elevator breakdown and don't really have the money to fix it. But Howard knows that his son, Will, is good at fixing stuff, so he asks him to fix it. And he gets a revelation from God at that time about how to build a magnetic engine that's virtually a perpetual motion machine. Mm-hmm. And that's how the whole thing starts, with the magnetic engine.
And the magnetic engine, like you said, would be the answer to a lot of prayers. It would not only help this family and this farm, but it would help America as well.
Correct. And a little later, they have another problem. Their big tractor breaks down, and he fixes it that way, and they figure out what they've got and patent it. So that's where they take off, helping the United States at least come out of the second Great Depression.
I can see your inspiration a little bit. I mean, it doesn't seem like we're that far away from a depression right now. We're in a recession by most counts. We certainly have an energy crisis that has been thrust upon us. We could use that perpetual motion machine or magnetic engine right now. Tell me a little bit how everything came together to you to create this time and this world. And I think as a little bit of a warning to the folks who are living in 2022, watch out, 2050 is not that far away.
Very true. But they invent this engine, and people want to stop it from coming to market because it would hurt their finances, their market. If you have this motor you put in a car that never needs gasoline, needs no type of fuel, whatever, or you have a generator for your home, and you never need to buy gas or electricity or anything because you just hook it up to the house and start it, and you have electricity until the motor wears out in the distant future. So there's a number of people that would not want this motor to come to market, and they try to stop it, which right. I think would actually happen. This is like, I think this, I'm not a mechanic, but I believe this motor could be built. And if the right person looked at it, I believe it could actually happen.
Well, you know, if they've got a little device that we hold in our hands that records, that we can read from, that we can navigate with, that we can watch movies on. I mean, this little gadget, the iPhone that I talk about, or cellular phone, mobile phone, has replaced hundreds of objects. Why can't we come up with an engine that works with little or no energy at all? It only seems to make sense, right?
It does. And, you know, you've seen conspiracy movies and things in the past where they come up with this, well, somebody buys it out and puts it away so it doesn't come to market. Right. Makes you wonder if it hasn't happened, but there's a great conspiracy goes against them in this book to try to keep them from bringing it to market. But there's other forces, good forces, that help them keep them safe and bring it to market, and then that completely changes the world and brings us out of that second Great Depression.
Amazing. Yep. It's a remarkable book. I really enjoyed it. And part of what I enjoyed about it are the biblical references that you put in there. Obviously, your faith means a lot to you. And tell me a little bit about why you intertwine some biblical references in your novel.
Well, simple. This is God taking a godly man, which Will Sevrin is in this book, and leading him down a road that will help other people. And Will's not afraid, even with all the forces working against him, as long as God is on his side, he's not afraid to continue down the road that God is leading him on to help other people and, just bring the country back to where it should be in financially. And also, if people watch his faith and watch him live by faith, then maybe they will come to faith.
It seems like faith is a little bit lacking right now in 2022 as well.
Yeah, but I've seen some things too that there are some great movements out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people are going to come to them. I've been a part of a couple, and I believe that the one thing this country needs is to turn back to God and to turn back, and that will make us great again.
Absolutely. I mean, when you think of what's happening in America, you and I are approximately the same age. I know you began your career in 83. I began my career in 83. So we've lived a bunch of decades now. And the difference between 1983 and 2022 is mind-blowing. I mean, I can't imagine the kinds of crimes that happen today with regularity.
Mm-hmm.
You work in law enforcement, you see it, you read about it, you experience it. You got to wonder what's happening to society. What's your take on it, Wayne?
Well, again, I believe it's that we were founded as one nation under God, and we've gotten away from it.
Hmm.
And as long as we're following his principles, the country remains great. But when we start turning away from him and turning towards what we want instead of what's right, then we have problems.
Yeah, this whole push for secularism and to remove God and Jesus from society, might satisfy intellectuals. But the problem is when you have a society that's devoid of Christian principles that are universal principles. I mean, who is going to debate the 10 Commandments or the Beatitudes? These are the foundations of society, of civilization, but without them, we're lost. So by the intellectual movement and the elitists out there pushing to secularize everything and erase God is having untold effects, in my opinion.
I agree entirely. And again, if we will turn back to God, I believe he'll lead us down a path similar to the one in my book. But then again, if you get into book 2, things get pretty hairy for Will Sevrin in the United States, which really does force a turn back to God. And sometimes God will lead you down a rough road just to get your attention.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what I have happening in my books.
So Magnetism Revelation is the first book. Is
Right.
the second book published yet?
It is.
Okay, great. And what's the name of that?
A World at War.
A World at War. Is there another edition? How many chapters or how many installments do you have of your book right now?
I don't have book 3 out yet. I'm having some trouble formatting it, truthfully.
Right.
I'm actually writing book 4. So I'm planning on keeping the series going, yeah.
Great. Well, we're glad to have it. I'm sure your readers will be glad to have it as well. And you've written other books as well. Tell me about your writing career. Apparently, you've been in law enforcement since the early 80s. And, When you're done with your shift, you'll come back and do some writing?
Well, especially when I was on third shift, when I was a city patrol officer, and on my days off, I'm used to working till 7 in the morning. You can't go to sleep on a day off till 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And the wife and kids were in bed, so I'd sit here in this chair and get my computer out and start writing, and that's when all this started. And I've got that, and another one, again, a godly man is kicked out of his kingdom on another planet, which is called a prince, a knight, and a stable hand. And so my main theme is to write about good, godly men in times of trouble and what they do.
Well, Will Sevrin is certainly a memorable character. I can picture him 6'4", well-muscled. Am I recalling the attributes correct?
Yes, you are.
We need heroes like that in America. If you were to turn this into a film, do you have any actors in mind who could play that part? I know a young Clint Eastwood could.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm a big Clint Eastwood fan, being a cop, and you got all his police movies he made.
Oh, absolutely. Me too. As a journalist, I'm a big fan as well, for sure.
But yeah, I don't really have an actor in mind, but that would be the description I would want of him, because he's supposed to be a athlete, football player, that kind of stuff too, when he's in high school. So and just having grown up on a farm, I know farm work will put the muscle on you.
Yeah. Yeah. Living on a farm right now, like I do, and I didn't get the farm until 2 years ago. I'll tell you, it'll knock you out as well, particularly when you're our age.
Yeah.
It's
Can't do what I
work.
used to.
Yeah. I need some of that Will Sevrin muscle right about now.
Yeah.
But to our viewers at home, I recommend the book, Magnetism, the Revelation, and the entire series that is written by HW Sahek. If you're tired of these troubled times, if you're tired of men who don't act like men, if you feel like we need a hero, if you feel like we need an infusion of faith in God and Jesus, well, then pick up this book, read it, see how America can be shaped again, be made great again, be made Christian again by the work of a man who refuses to back down. HW Sahek, Wayne Sahek, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
It's my pleasure. And to the viewers at home, you can get the book on Amazon.com. You can download it to Kindle, or you can actually purchase the paperback copy and have it in your hand. That's what I recommend. You never know when this contraption around us, the internet, is going to go down. To the viewers at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.